Hey guys, welcome. I hope you enjoy this story. One night in college, I was having a loud, passionate moment with my girlfriend. As she straddled me, I got carried away and began to spank her. We were both really into it, and I was hitting her pretty hard until my hand missed her completely. My hand swung down right as she moved up, and I ended up hitting myself in the groin with full force. I immediately fell off the bed and curled up on the floor in blinding pain. My girlfriend, unsure of what to do, ran to the bathroom for a cold washcloth and threw open the door. She was met with a sight she never expected: my roommate, with his pants around his ankles. An awkward silence filled the air. She quickly slammed the door shut, and that was the last time I saw my roommate that year. It was my 18th birthday, around 12:30 a.m., and my girlfriend and I were relaxing on the couch watching a movie. My family had already gone to bed. She looked at me and said, "I'm going to give you your birthday present now." We started getting intimate on the couch, and everything was going well. We were in a cuddling position with a blanket covering us from the waist down. The room suddenly got brighter with a soft, natural light, and my eyes darted up. Standing there were my mother, father, and sister, holding a birthday cake and singing "Happy Birthday." All of this happened while I was in a very compromising position with my girlfriend. A long time ago, I was having a secret relationship with someone. We were staying at a friend's rustic cabin in Colorado, a place where you had to be sure to lock the doors because of bears. We were sleeping in separate bedrooms, but in the middle of the night, I decided to be spontaneous. I put on nothing but a bathrobe and snuck into his room. I slipped out of my robe and under the covers, climbing on top of him, hoping to wake him up and embody a sexually adventurous fantasy. Instead, he woke up with a start, screamed, and pushed me off him and off the bed. He later explained that he thought I was a bear. This was followed by a moment of wild confusion from him. I ended up hiding naked under the bed for about 15 minutes, just in case our friend came to investigate the noise. In my army days, a memorable night began when I got quite tipsy and managed to charm a very attractive woman into coming back with me to the barracks. As it turned out, she was leading me to the female barracks, which, to my surprise, were laid out in the exact opposite configuration of the male ones. After a very passionate encounter, I got up to use the bathroom. I stepped out of the room only to realize I was in the main hallway. The door clicked shut behind me, and I heard it lock. I tried knocking, but my companion was already in the shower and couldn't hear me. With no other choice, I had to walk back to my own room completely unclothed, passing an entire platoon of female medics on the way. They didn't miss a beat. They laughed and cheered as I made the most embarrassing walk of shame of my life. I never lived that moment down. It became a legendary story that was told and retold among my fellow soldiers, a constant reminder of that unforgettable night. I was with a girl earlier this summer, and things were going quite well. We were switching positions here and there, keeping it fun. In one of our position changes, she kinda flails her foot a bit, in a fit of joy, I am guessing, and hits me square in the balls. I had not been hit that hard or so cleanly since I was about 8, playing soccer. With my balls now up near my nipples and an immediate desire to start puking my guts out, I tell her I need a minute to recoup. Sadly, my junk decided it was not going to risk any other sort of injury and said it was done for the night. I tried to reason with my dick, but it was having none of it. The girl was so apologetic and was really trying anything to get things going again. But biology had other ideas. I ended up driving home with a case of bruised balls. So ended up seeing this girl whilst at university. After a night without her flatmates, which I had not met at that point, we start getting down to business. After finishing, I go to chuck the rubber Johnny in the bin, but she doesn't have one in her room, so I decide to flush it down the loo while still in the scud. Now her flatmates are out clubbing, so I figure I've got till about 2 a.m. at the earliest till they come back. I open the door into the corridor, used Johnny in one hand, Semi in the other, and all three of them are there with their boyfriends. I panic, throw the condom through an open door into the kitchen, and proceed to hide under the duvet. I was then made to get dressed and introduce myself to them. Awkward to say the least. Never did find that rubber, though. The person I was dating and I were very intoxicated after a late night on a booze cruise. We arrived back at her mother's house, and despite the late hour, we were in the mood to be intimate. Since her mother wasn't a huge fan of me, we had a prior incident where she complained about loud noises from her daughter's room at 3 a.m. We decided to take our rendezvous outdoors, right on her front lawn. After we finished, we were so exhausted from the night's events that we both fell asleep right where we were, completely unclothed on the grass. A few hours later, we were rudely awakened by her neighbor, who was already up and mowing his lawn. It was an incredibly awkward and embarrassing way to start the morning. So this girl I was trying to get with invites me to her house. She still lived with her parents but was home alone. So we get it on, and I get it in, not a minute goes by, and we start to hear noises. Sure enough, her mom and her sister get home. Her sister goes to her room to find the door locked, and she starts making a big fuzz. There we are trying to get dressed. I was super hard, so I put my pants on trying to hide my boner. Not so well, may I add. My girl opens the door, her sister sees me, and she had the most "oh shit, I messed up" look on her face. Finished dressing, headed out, met my girl's mom, and shook her hand with the hand I had been fingering my girl with. I headed home. When I arrived, I noticed my shirt was inside out. Needless to say, I was like, did this really just happen? Ah, good times. While on vacation, I met up with a friend I had been intimate with before. He was an attractive older man with a few kinks, and we had a passionate moment. During this, he mentioned that he occasionally enjoys being on the receiving end. I responded that I would be happy to, and in an attempt to be playful, I added, "Only if you beg for it." Everything stopped immediately. He seemed surprised and asked me to clarify. Thinking he hadn't heard me, I repeated myself. He then tried to beg in a high-pitched feminine voice, and I quickly told him that wasn't what I meant. The moment was lost, and we tried to continue, but were too intoxicated. I can't remember exactly how it ended, but we either struggled to finish or decided to call it quits. Since we were both staying at the same resort, we kept running into each other throughout the weekend. We were still friendly, but there was an unspoken understanding that our intimate encounters were off the table unless we had no other options. Fortunately, there were plenty of other opportunities. During my time at university, I was casually seeing a girl who often spoke about her incredible experiences with psychedelics. At that point, my own experience with substances was limited to cannabis and alcohol, so her stories were fascinating to me. She was clearly a lot more comfortable and knowledgeable about it than I was. She managed to get her hands on some mushrooms, and we made plans to try them together. The day she came over, her excitement was palpable. She was looking forward to the evening a great deal more than I was. She seemed quite ready for intimacy and had brought the mushrooms along. As someone with no experience with them, I ended up taking a fairly large dose and began to feel the effects quite intensely. My initial expectations for the night quickly evaporated. Instead of being interested in any form of physical intimacy, I became completely captivated by the vivid visuals and the profound shifts in my perception. In short, the night took a very unexpected turn. Rather than being a night of romance, it became an experience where she had to patiently look after me for several hours as I navigated the powerful effects of the mushrooms. The night wasn't what either of us had planned, but it certainly was an unforgettable experience. My girlfriend and I were being intimate one night, and I was quite inebriated. While we were in the missionary position, I somehow stumbled and fell on top of her. "What happened there?" she asked, and without thinking, I replied, "I fell for you." She didn't laugh. Instead, she looked at me and called me a loser. We continued our evening together. I asked if my joke had really been that bad. She just laughed and admitted that she thought it was funny and had only acted that way to be playfully hostile. It was a good lesson that not every reaction is what it seems.